Hey, and welcome to the mixing process. In this video, I want to explain what a matrix is on a live audio console. Pretty much any digital mixer these days has at least a few of these, but if you aren't already familiar with what they do, it can be tricky to know how to use them or how they differ from other types of groups. In the last 3 videos on this channel, I talked about the other 3 kinds of groups on mixers: auxes, groups or subgroups, and DCAs. In the video about auxes, we learned that auxes are used to create a mix of inputs to send to a specific destination, such as a stage monitor. We'll think of a matrix as a group that's used to hold a mix of other groups instead of just inputs to send to a specific destination. Here's what I mean by that. In a very simple setup, all of your inputs go straight to the master bus, and that one bus feeds the whole PA. However, in a more complex system, you may need to have more specific control over what goes to each part of the PA, what goes to your broadcast feed, what goes to your lobby speakers, and so on. And on top of that, you may need to process those feeds differently. And this is where a matrix is really useful, because you don't have to build a dedicated mix with inputs for every single application like you would if you were using an aux to try to accomplish the same thing. Instead, you can take specific groups of inputs like the master group or the drum group or a crowd mic group or some other kind of group, assign them to a matrix, and then that matrix will carry that mix of groups to its destination. Let me give you some examples of where this could be used. Let's say you have a sound system with a left, right, a sub, and some side fills halfway into the room. In this setup, you will need to send your master mix to all of those locations, but you'll need to time delay the fills in order to align them with the left, right. So you'd be sending your master bus to a stereo matrix 1, send matrix 1 to the left, right, then send your master bus to matrix 2, send matrix 2 to the fills, and then you have to time align them appropriately to be in phase and time alignment with each other. Now, your inputs are still going straight to the master bus like they usually do, but your matrices are distributing the audio to the destinations the way that they need to for your specific setup. Another common example of using matrices is when you're using a left-right board mix to feed the PA as well as for a broadcast feed. And in these scenarios, sometimes you'll need a slightly different mix for the room than you do for your broadcast. But instead of creating 2 entirely different mixes, we can use matrices to help make a balanced mix for each application. Here's an example of doing this. If you're in a small room with an acoustic drum kit, you would likely run the drums quieter in the PA because the volume from the live kit is already pretty loud in the room. But for your broadcast mix, you don't have all that acoustic room volume, so you need more drums in your broadcast mix than you will in your house mix. This is where we'd use a matrix. So to set this up, you need to make a drum group with all of your drum inputs in it, and then for the broadcast feed, you'll send that drum bus and your master bus to matrix 1. And then you'll be able to set the relative levels of those 2 groups inside that matrix before it goes out to the broadcast. Now you have a separate mix optimized just for your broadcast without compromising your mix for the room. And this same kind of setup can be used if you want to send audience mics to a broadcast but not to your room or something similar. And on top of all of this, you can also apply processing such as EQ or compression to a matrix, further allowing you to customize each feed before it goes to its final destination. So to sum up, a matrix is used as a bus to send different groups of audio to different locations. Most of the time, the master bus is the main group sent through a matrix to a location, but you'll often see other subgroups along with it, like the drum bus in that example that we gave, depending on what the engineer is trying to accomplish for his specific setup. So hopefully this was helpful for you. As always, if you're new to mixing and need a little direction on where to start, we've all been there. You can go check out my free mixing guide at themixingprocess.com. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments or by contacting me directly on my website. Thanks for watching. I will see you on the next one.